What's going on, everybody? Man, how y'all doing? Happy Thursday. What's happening? What's happening? Y'all know how it is. It's Thursday. SWAC smoke. It's going down, man. We got the crew in the house, man. I thought we had the big soldier, and I must have dropped him off by mistake. I hope he come back through. But man, how y'all doing out there today, man? How everybody doing? Y'all see we got a couple members of the crew already here. We got the other one coming through any minute. But y'all know what's good. Y'all know what's good. What's going on, gentlemen? How y'all doing?
Doing good. Ready for another edition of the Swag Smoke. I've been working a lot, so I ain't been keeping up with a lot, but I just talk about the little bit I do know, recognize.
Oh, that's all we do, man. I only talk about the little bit I know. I don't, I
Right,
just I
right.
just learn I just learned how to stretch a little into a lot, man. But what's up, DJ, man? What's going on with you?
Hey man, I'm good, man. Happy to be here.
What's going on in the gump, man? What's happening out there?
And nothing but recruiting, man. Trying to recruit and get the edge on Jackson State and the Rattlers and everybody else.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard work, man. Them boys out there working hard. So
Everybody in that recruiting thing. I don't know how that's gonna shake out.
hey, let's start with this. I don't know if Jerome, I don't know if you've seen this, but DJ, I'm sure you've seen it about the JUCO ruling. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I heard about it.
So
They can play JUCO and don't lose any D1 eligibility. Basically, that's
yeah,
what
so
I heard.
basically,
Think I heard.
ba- basically, it's what like granting that instead of having 2 years coming off out of JUCO, you still got all four. Um, that's not official yet, is it?
It's like it's a from what I understand a temporary injunction right now. So it could stick and stay around or it could just be right now until they figure it out type of thing.
So how y'all feel about that situation? Giving kids basically, if you go to JUCO, you basically getting 6 years of college football.
I don't think it's good. It's they're gonna be jumping all around and moving all over, and I I kind of wish it was just like it was, used to be or is now, where you just keep your 4 years eligibility. When you burn them up, you burn them up. But you're gonna have that dude old like the University of Miami player, what 28, something like
Yeah,
that.
that man been that man been in college 9 years, I think.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be hard on high school players, and you know it's gonna affect everybody if it does happen. Cause it's almost like why even come play for a lower level school when you could just play JUCO and it's like you're in high school and keep all your eligibility. You put your weight on and all that kind of stuff in JUCO and it don't even count against you.
Yeah, see that's kind of crazy. Um, I got some. I'm sure a lot of people gonna find ways to use this if it go into full effect. But I was thinking, you might see schools try to use JUCOs like form systems, man. You know what I'm saying? Try
Yeah,
to stash kids somewhere and you know what I'm saying, bring them up with
right.
full time left on their eligibility clock. I'm sure somebody gonna try to find some kind of way, especially in states that's got a lot of JUCOs. It's gonna be really interesting to see how it go. Of course, being something what they say involved, I'm sure the beginning of it is gonna be hell on wheels, and it ain't gonna never go smoothly because anything they introduce or they're part of early, they don't roll it out in a good fashion. So I expect this to not go too pretty when it first start off.
Yeah. Well, and what about the student part with student athlete? What about that part? I
Um,
mean, they what are they doing? What are they going to be doing in JUCO? So they going to get 2 years. They come in with an AA degree, and then they get the 4 years. They can leave with a master's or whatever. Is that how that's going to play out, or You understand what I'm saying? Or will it be a place where you hire people that's not eligible and give them a chance to get themselves eligible, and don't count their time playing against them and stuff? There's so many ways you can look at it.
It's gonna be, like I say, it's gonna be something that's just not, it's not gonna be a smooth transition. It's gonna, and you already got a lot of guys thinking that they, what I'm saying, thinking that they're gonna get an extra year now, and so it's like they got to really kind of rein it in, because a lot of people looking at it. I've seen quite a few guys, they mostly joking, but I've seen a lot of few guys like, well, shit, I guess I got another year left, so it's like they you need to kind of be careful before you really really get some of these dudes' expectations up, man.
Right. You'll be bringing all them old dudes back. Like one more run.
Hey, you got some eligibility left. let's run it back, man. Let's make it happen.
One more run. You didn't make it, yeah. But I'm just curious to see how that plays out. And then how is it going to affect our schools? I know in Florida we already have at FAMU already got to recruit against the whole world. So it's going to be even worse. I think it'll make it even tougher.
So. Yeah, it's like I said, it's gonna be interesting. DJ, what's your thoughts on that situation, man? How you think this gonna play out?
I think it's kind of like going back to where it used to be, because remember, schools used to put kids at JUCO, Power Fives, and I think a lot of that gonna be going on. It's probably gonna be some money slid under the table, or one of these winning JUCOs. Yeah, one of the winning JUCOs is gonna start that process, like Hutchinson and all them type schools. It's gonna be some big time impact on schools on our level. Like, it's really just gonna benefit the people at the top, because after a while, I spoke with a coach today that had a student athlete tell him, "Coach, I ain't never played without NIL." And that's essentially saying, I ain't coming to your school. I don't know what it's like to play without NIL money.
Yeah, that's something that's gonna have to be battled too.
Right. So if you're talking about JUCOs may start doing that, Power Five, Group of Five, where do they leave us? So now you got people that, but like that coach said, the kid that lets you know the.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going. Oh, we got an echo somewhere. Let me. All right. Yeah, can y'all hear me?
I hear you.
All right, because I can't.
Is that me?
I don't know, man. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm gonna take myself off, and then I'm gonna see if it's still there.
Mic checker, 1 2 checker.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Can y'all hear me?
I don't know. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but we got a little weird feedback in there, but we all good though. It's gonna like I said, it's gonna be a tough situation to navigate, and like DJ say, these kids we coming into a time where you're gonna have guys that the NIL is all they know, and you're gonna have to, you can't pony up for a lot of these dudes. A lot of these dudes got big dreams, and you can't fulfill that. So you're gonna, I don't know, man. I think it's really starting to, I think this is the beginning of that separation that people have been looking at for a long time. We have been saying for years that at some point the major schools gonna break off from everybody else, and I think this is like the start of that.
It went crazy. He caught that. Yeah, it's gonna be rough on HBCUs, I believe, because we already well, I know it seemed like the black colleges already. All the recruits are sitting around waiting. Nobody really signing early. They're all kind of just waiting to see where they going to, the chips are going to lie for them. And it's almost like we're going to have to get what everybody else has picked through already, because they're going to be waiting on trying to get some money, you know?
Yeah, and DJ, had they started that cap on the FBS teams yet?
I think that this upcoming fall, I think that's when all that's supposed to start. So I think a lot of people are kind of getting their roster number down and stuff this spring, preparing for that.
Oh,
that's gonna make for some interesting things too, because now you're gonna have teams, you know, it's gonna be a lot of guys and not a lot of spots. So I think you have to kind of think.
Like at Power 5 and you know, the Power 4 schools or whatever, would they just be shuffling around up on that level? Say I cut 30 players, and then, you know, you ain't got to just necessarily run down to FCS and just leave FBS. You know what I mean? You could find a school somewhere else up at that level. That's what I'm thinking. So we still going to kind of get, like, I think what's left over.
Yeah, we always gonna get, you know, we always gonna get the scraps. So it's like our coaches have to make sure that they can filter through that and you know, get the best of the I don't want to say best of the worst, but you know what I'm saying, get the best of the scraps. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, they got guys that can play in the portal, but they also got a lot of guys who not gonna necessarily bring you more than what you already got on your own team. You know. And I know a lot of these guys, yeah, and you know, a lot of these guys seeing, you know, a guy like Giovanni Gibson ended up at Oklahoma, you know what I'm saying, and a couple other guys, you know, ended up at FBS teams, and you know, they think they can get there, which, you know, hey, salute to you for having a dream, but sometimes you got to look at things through a clear lens and recognize where you're going. But I think that part of the discussion we didn't had like a million times, and you know, it ain't gonna really change because guys just feel like they different, and you know, I hate to see people find that stuff out the hard way, but you know, it's always a interesting subject.
Well, what's gonna happen to the Division II schools? Like, nobody ever talks about that.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like
they might just get all the high school players. Just that might be where
the high school kids have to go.
I guess like
that don't get in the JUCO, because they
pile
in the JUCO.
Yeah, now they all gonna go. Now they all gonna go JUCO.
They're gonna go JUCO first.
Yeah.
Right. Dang. I hadn't thought about that.
So that leads me to my next question. We had a little debate earlier, and I said I'm gonna bring it to the show tonight. What are y'all? How large is the gap between Division I HBCUs and Division II HBCUs in terms of talent and competitiveness? Like, do you feel like Division I HBCUs are that much further ahead of D2 HBCUs, or are they close?
I think like, just like, you know, us and other levels, I think the difference is on the line, you know what I'm saying? But those teams typically tend to have some enough individual talent to keep a game close, but you know, they don't never have the depth really. So I think that's the biggest. I think the gap is, you know, what you can bring off the bench versus what they could bring off the bench, because you know they bring in 22, and that's basically what, you know. I mean, of course they got subs, but they basically running with their first guys, you know. And if they had to go beyond that, you know, that's when the separation starts. So I don't think it's a huge gap, but I think it's a big enough gap that you can notice the difference when you watch those teams play against each other.
I think the gap is a big gap between the I guess I say the blue blood programs are right now the programs that are at the top right now in the Division I HBCUs. But then you got some lower level ones that the gap is not that far in between, I don't think. But it's like C. Will was saying, is mainly due to the size of the offensive and defensive line and the depth. It's the same thing. But you know, it's been seen that Miles has come up and beat teams on this level, and for years Tuskegee was beating people on this level. So it's not like it's impossible. It's not like it's that wide of a gap.
You know,
they won't beat the top teams, I'll say.
Yeah, I think the lower you go on the standings in our, especially in our conference, the lower you go on the standings, I think it kind of gets closer. But a lot of teams, you know, if you don't show up to play, they can give you a hard time. You know, I remember a couple of years, it might have been like 3 years ago, Miles came to Baton Rouge and gave Southern everything they wanted. You know what I'm saying? Because at that time they had some FBS dudes playing on their team. You know, they had some major running backs that could tote that load that was like 6'2", 220. You know what I'm saying? And like run the ball, dudes like from Michigan and places like that. So, you know, if those teams can get some of them, you know, guys that's been dropped down enough, they can give you a hard time. But I just think the overall depth is the difference between the two levels.
I think it's closer than what we think, but the consensus is what y'all saying. I'm the only one saying that I think it's closer than what we think. But I can agree that I think the bottom quarter of our league, like schools like Virginia Union, and we lost to Miles 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I think some of those schools, the top tier D2 HBCUs, I think they give a lot of our schools a run. I don't think it's a pushover.
Yeah, I feel the same. You know, I think like the lower you get in like in the SIAC, you know, whoever the lower teams is, they not really gonna have a chance unless you just don't, you know what I'm saying, unless you just don't come to play at all. But you know, you get like Clark went to Bethune, you know what I'm saying, and they beat them, and Clark finished. I think they made their championship game in the SIAC. So
I don't know. Their season kind of tailed off a little bit, I thought.
Yeah, they might have missed it, but they had a strong season up until that point, and maybe a little bit after that, you know, and that was a size difference between the two teams because I watched that game, but you know, Bethune just didn't have. They just didn't play a clean game. You know, they made a lot of mistakes, and even the drive that those guys scored on the win, they had got to stop on I think it was third down. It might have been fourth down, but they got to stop and had a personal foul penalty that extended the drive that let them drive in the field goal range to kick a 55-yard field goal to win the game.
Right.
But that's, you know, I think the gap is not huge, but I think it's big enough to be a difference depending on where you look at what team they playing.
Yeah, I know. FAMU had a little tough time a couple years ago with, was it Albany State or Alabama's? One of them small schools right there in Georgia, Fort Valley. One of them came to Tallahassee, and we had a tough first half against them. But you ended up wearing it out.
Now, if you want to access the gap between a PWI D2 and us, I don't think there's a big gap between them at all. I think some of them teams could win the SWAC if they got enough numbers, man.
Yeah, well, they be getting the same players that we should have be going out there and stuff. You know,
I feel like some of them teams is D2 in name. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just like some of ours is D1 in name.
Yeah, exactly. Just in the opposite direction.
In name. Everybody right. Hey, I never did say congratulations to the Jackson State fans and the fan base and all that kind of stuff. I know I get on here and talk a lot of trash, but I want to say congratulations on a job well done, and y'all need to enjoy it while y'all can.
Hey, I like I say, man, salute to Jackson. We did a live show Saturday night, and you know we had a lot of fun talking about the game. But I want to get y'all thoughts on the game, man. How did y'all feel about the game? I was able to watch like from the second quarter on. I thought I thought JSU dominated that game, man. I never thought it was anywhere close to being a even game. But we got the big soldier in the house. What's up, man? What's going on with you?
About time Jerome stop ducking me, man. Hey, he ain't said congratulations or nothing. I've been looking for you all week. Where you been at, man?
And I've been working, bro. I've been working. That's all I can say.
I've been working.
Saturday night, I was at this Christmas party. I've been getting it, bro.
All right, I guess I'll hold you to it.
I
hold you to it.
I just gave all the J State fans a shout out. I told them all congratulations. I couldn't make it to the things Saturday night.
Yeah, I heard. I appreciate it.
I couldn't make it to the live. And then, Sunday I was just chilling. Then I was right back at it Monday. But yeah, I gave y'all a shout out. I also say enjoy it while y'all can, Enjoy it. Because it don't last forever.
Hey, don't let them rush y'all celebration, man.
We're gonna be on top for a while, bro. I'm gonna promise you that.
It's looking good. It's looking good right now. It's looking good, Definitely the team to beat next year, the way it looks. If everything stays status quo like it is right now.
Yeah, I mean they definitely got the opportunity to run it back.
We ain't gonna go that far, but
yeah.
Congratulations to Jackson State. I give a bigger congrats to that fan base. I thoroughly enjoyed them. But let's face it, no taking away from Jackson. But South Carolina State, they crapped the bed. The quarterback was not ready for that moment. And I'm never the guy that's gonna blame one person for a game or none of that. But he could not play in that game. He made a lot of mistakes that just put them further and further out of the game.
Now I saw somebody say something, and I don't believe I don't buy into it because I think ass whooping is just ass whooping. I didn't. Thanks to y'all, man. I got my old man saying BTA now, so he said that game was BTA. But I heard somebody say that the MEAC had they postseason awards in Las Vegas like a couple of days before the game. How stupid is that?
They ain't got nothing to do with what we
It don't, but I'm not using that as an excuse. I saw somebody else using that as an excuse.
Because that old Baptist preacher was running his so mouth, and he popped him in his mouth, and he got what he deserved. So,
we got a special guest in the house. Go ahead, Doc.
I just want to say, when you address us as the champions,
HBCU national champions of that.
Hey, y'all got it, man.
Address us as the THEE champions.
Make sure you put that other E on there now.
Yeah,
don't leave it off.
Hey. Make sure you get it correct. You gotta get it correct. We gonna talk our ish. and we, the way we looking at it right now, the way they're recruiting looking right now, we about to run it back again.
It's scary hours out there, man. Like I say, everybody gotta step their game up, man. So it's dangerous out there right now. I keep my good eye on what y'all doing out there, man. You always got to know what's going on. So
yeah.
What's up?
Okay. What was your thoughts on the game, Doc?
Man, I'm just like I just like my man from FAMU. I wish could have been down there. Like I said, I had health reasons. That's the reason why I didn't come. But just looking at the game, I watched the game 3 times already, man. Just watching it on Saturday, The turning point of the game is when you boot the ball, you punt the ball to our freshman All-American punt returning kicker, and he take it to the house.
I tell you
Now
that set the tone. That really set
that
the
set
tone.
the whole tone. Man, and then if you really think about it, on defense, what set the tone on defense was I talked to Sayers E6 earlier today. Um, his sack, the first sack of the game, he
Mm-hmm.
set the tone for the defense. And then once I was like, oh, I'm just looking at it. It's like, oh, they folded like paper mache. Oh, it's time to go to work. It's time to eat. It was time to eat. Defense. Bulldog defense keyed in on Irv. They made sure they wanted to try to stop Irv, but Irv is not just the whole team. And this basically made prove a point that Jacobian is that quarterback. He was efficient in the game, even though he had one turnover, the one interception, which I wish he would have took it back because he just kind of floated over the middle. But it was still a great interception by Diego Addison. But he was efficient. The man 15 to 21. What's that? What we talking about? Six or seven?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, about like damn near it's 80, close to 80%, 233 yards, two touchdowns, and one interception. And he ran the ball effectively too. He did have a mishap with a fumble, but we recovered that. We recovered that back. But the game was in his hand because they teed in on the run. And I want to give a shout out to Amari Matthews, straight out of here at Dallas. He had a good game. He had a big game too. He had 55 yards on the ground, and that just lets you know that the running back room at Jackson State is going to be solidified because we got a lot of we got a lot of players. We got depth in that room. Um, the breakout was Jonas Fortillion catching the two passes. Yeah, excuse me, I'm on my lunch break. But catching the two passes.
What you
But
eating, Doc? Is you eating chicken wings?
you know what I'm saying? 28 chicken wings fried hard, bro. 28 wings, no flats.
Ah,
Y'all, the South Carolina State was cramping up, so JSU depth and just them being able to keep running the players out, the different players on the field, definitely had an effect on South Carolina State team. They
Yeah,
lost like two defensive linemen, kind of cramped up and walked out. But every time you look up, somebody was cramping up.
but here's the thing. Here's the thing too. The fact that even though yes they had 3 weeks off, you know what I'm saying. What were they doing in those 3 weeks? You
drinking
got
him. That's
you
what
you
they were
got
doing.
you got you got. I mean, they was off for Thanksgiving. Like we weren't even off Thanksgiving. We went straight. Once we beat Alcorn, we went into the SWAC championship game coming in. Like we had 1 week off. We going to SWAC championship game. All right, we well rested. Even though they don't have a Thanksgiving off, we got to play again. We ain't got no days off, so we got to travel to Atlanta. So and do all the bowl stuff right there. And for them to come in, for Jackson State to come in, be continuous play with kind of like with not without any breaks. Pretty much that was just we were just hot at the right time, and coming in with a 10-game winning streak. So next season, we coming in with a 10-game winning streak. We coming in, with a 4-game home win streak right now. No, not 4, but 5. coming in with a five game home win streak, coming in for next season, and we get majority of the players that we got, get back. Depending on some of the findings of what was what's going on with this extra eligibility and all this other stuff like that.
I see your boy E6 pushing for his extra year, man. That dude is a menace, bro. That dude is a menace, man.
Dang.
But
That's why I gave him the nickname.
he definitely a menace. I do want to say about South Carolina State, and I said this Saturday night, we can dead that time off debate. We can dead that. I never thought it was a big issue anyway, but we can dead that now. I thought if anything, if they didn't close out the game strong, they didn't even look like they came into that game ready to play. Like they didn't even look like they knew what was on the other side of the field from them. And I told Big Soldier this: if y'all go back and watch the game, there's a point in the second quarter, I think, where they show their sideline man and Eric Phoenix stand on the sideline with this look on his face like he don't know what the hell going on. And the score was only like 7-0, but they had the heat on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the coaches didn't look like nobody looked like they. I know they did, but they looked like they didn't watch no film. Like they didn't know what team they was playing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody told them to come to the stadium on Saturday at 12 o'clock, and we're gonna tell you who you playing when you get there. They just did not look ready, man.
But when you look at it though, look at that third quarter, man. Look at what he did in the third quarter by itself. We held them with 0 yards in the third quarter.
But
that's dominance right there.
But Jackson State set the tone with the punt return. Even though it got called back, it was all the tone was set with that play right there. That pretty much let them know off rip, because we told them, everybody told them don't kick to the doggone man.
I don't know how many times I need to say that, man. Do not kick. Do not kick at that dude, bro.
I'm looking at the TV and I'm looking at him. I was like, oh, this man about to kick it to him. I'm looking dead at him. Dyson Roberts, great, good kicker. He's a phenomenal kicker for South Carolina State because he at points of time in the game he flipped the field, but he kicked it. I was like, he gonna kick it. He gonna test him. They gonna test that boy right there, and they paid for it. He played a couple of more downs, but then he went out the game. But at that time, do you really need him after that?
Yeah, I mean, once you got your offense going, it took care of itself.
Yeah, he did. He set the tone. He gonna be a menace next season for the SWAC.
That's the scary part.
Let's say if he'd, I don't know. I won't want to put him as a feature back. I would still keep him as a third down back, a scat back. You know what I'm saying? Moving all around. On the field as a running back, receiver, slot receiver. Whatever you want to do with him. Like, I'm looking at it like, hey, he gonna be hell. But
he's gonna be a problem.
He real small?
No, he's not real small.
He about 5'8".
Yeah, I refereed Ray McLeod when he was in high school at Sickles, and he was running back punts, and he was playing tailback. He was doing everything, and he was back there on the punt. I was like, man, you gonna be able to keep this up? He was like, yeah, I can do it. And that cat made it all the way to the pros.
Yeah.
So,
Ray McLeod.
Yeah, they never did use that man right at Clemson, though, man. Yeah, they never did.
He's a dog. I know he's a dog at Clemson, but like the defense, like our defensive line, we lose Nobles. He went into the portal because I think he's going to look to go back closer to home, but. You bring back Jeremiah Williams. You bring back Philip Webb. I think True Thompson is his last year. Tyus Martin is in the portal. But we still got depth at our defensive line. We still got the linebackers that we add on the linebackers, for the linebacker position. The only position, we're gonna be a little thin in for right now. What I'm looking at is that defensive back room. So if the NCAA don't say that they if they denies appeal, you lose E6, and you lose Kevin Wiggins. Shamar Hawkins went into the portal, but I think he want to go be close to home. But we still got a deep defensive back room, if you think about it. And we just added a couple of more players too.
Can we not talk about football?
Why?
No, I'm
what you
just playing.
what you want?
Hey, I
Hey,
got a question for y'all. What are y'all what are y'all thoughts about Michael Vick being a head coach over at Norfolk?
that's I was gonna circle around to that. I'm
Okay.
not. No. I'm glad you brought it up. I was gonna at some point. I don't know when I was gonna do it, but I'm glad you brought it up. No, I don't, man. Like I don't know about everybody else. I'm not a fan of guys coming in like that because I think there's a lot of coaches that work hard to get it, but that's his home area. You know what I'm saying? I hope they don't. I hope they temper their expectations, but the potential to develop a program that ain't really had a lot of success is good. I think I don't think it'll be nothing negative, but I just think people should kind of pump brakes on what's gonna happen. Now he could come in and run the show, but I think I think we need to kind of let him do his thing a little bit. But I'm not mad at the hire at all because they need a jump coming off of what Odom's had over there, which I was highly disappointed in what he had there. But I'm gonna wait and see. That's my response. What about the rest of y'all?
That first game gonna be nuts. I can't.
Oh yeah, because who they got? Who they got first game? I know it's against HBCU or it's somebody.
It's probably Virginia State or somebody. I'm just guessing now. I ain't looked at it. If it's a home game, it's gonna be ridiculous.
And then
And,
the MEAC SWAC, next, not this season coming up, but next year.
nah, I think there'll be like 3 more years down the line.
Yeah, I think it's Morgan or somebody. Not this year coming up, but next year.
I don't think it's just gonna automatically translate to them winning and being in the celebration bowl and all that kind of stuff. Like it's possible, but I think everybody looking for the Jackson State model, and so shoot, even with Tennessee State, it took them a little while to get to the point where they are.
And I was gonna say too, when you think about it, if I'm Michael Vick, get your coaching staff, get you a good coaching staff that that you can relate to, and you still gonna be involved with it, but let your coaches coach, right? So
Yeah,
in a
CEO
way,
that thing.
yeah, the CEO of the thing. So if it were me, I'll follow the model of Eddie George because I don't see Mike. Like I said this the other day. I don't see Michael Vick being a celebrity hire or nothing like that. I think you had one of the most electrifying players in the NFL that's becoming a head coach. It's just like with Eddie George. Eddie George was one of the best running backs in the NFL, a Heisman Trophy winner to be exact in college. He came in to help rejuvenate the program at Tennessee State, and it took him a while. And he was, in a sense, he kind of was on the hot seat after the third year, because of the 3 games that he dropped towards the end, because to where if he would have won those 3 games, they would have went to the playoffs. So when you think about it, I would say follow that model and just work your way and get the players that you need to get and try to be competitive. You know what I'm saying? And also try to get the fans. You got to get the fans back up in there and get them engaged.
That's the
I
first
saw
thing.
something, and the kid. I saw a news clip from the area, and the student body president was talking about how all the kids are excited, and the whole city is planning on coming out. They plan on selling out the stadium, and I want to say they stadium. They said
Stadium hold like
30,000 people.
30,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
30,000.
yeah. So they talking about. I can see all of that happening, but I just don't know if that's gonna all translate to winning. That's all. Cause it
I
ain't,
mean, he gonna
we were
have growing
skeptical.
pains
We were
though.
skeptical of Jackson State when Dion got there. Everybody was still, kind of questioning the fact whether he was gonna be able to do it like he did it, and he proved by winning. So
But in the,
I think we just got to take the wait and see look, like you
but
say.
but in the thing too, like after the spring season, he fast tracked his way into winning though, because
Right,
he
right.
didn't because he didn't go through the JUCO route, the Mississippi JUCO route, or the high. He got a couple of players from the high school route. He went straight up portal.
Right.
So he fast tracked his way into winning because he knew that if I could show these G5 or P4 schools that I can go in and take a group of kids and we can win, then I'll be able to get this job. Cause remember, like the first full year, he was damn near on his deathbed taking an
Yeah, for
interview
the
from TCU.
yeah, because he missed like he missed like 3 or 4 games at that point.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I know he was at the Southern game, but he didn't coach that game. And like you say, he was in the hospital. You know what I'm saying, trying to get out the job. So he always had that in front of him. But I think when it comes to how these how these guys are coming in, I think people need to look at who these guys are as people, like personalities and stuff. Nobody that is only one Deion Sanders. In
True.
personality wise, connections, whatever, there's only one of them. Michael Vick, a great football player. For the longest time, man, he was one of my favorite players. When I lived in Atlanta, people say I look like that dude. I don't, but people said I did back then.
You had the braids.
I had the braids. I had the little bit. You know what I'm saying? I was the third. I was the older brother. You know what I'm saying? But I think I think they need to understand that he's not that guy. He don't have to be either, but he's not that guy. So let him do what let him come in and establish himself. But I do think the expectation gonna be crazy. Their first game is at home against Towson State. So
Oh yeah.
that's gonna have that's gonna have a bigger than normal turnout because people coming to see it. So I'm excited to see what happened though. I'm just not a big fan of that kind of stuff, but I'm excited to see it happen.
And it's gonna be people. It's gonna be the haters out there. Basically, it's gonna be the people from Peter that's gonna be out there. Why is he coaching this and coaching that? And my whole thing is with Norfolk, if those folks come by there, they make a ruckus about him being a head coach and stuff like that, just coaching football, talking about he should still be in jail and stuff like that. Let it go. The man served his time. You know what I'm saying? He did wrong. He served his time. He came back. He redeemed himself. He been out. He really been. If you think about it, he really been out of the spotlight since he left the NFL. He been on Fox Sports News, Fox Sports Network and everything. He served his time. It is time for him. It's time for y'all to get over it. I understand y'all, you love your pets, you love your dogs more than you love your own mama. But at the same time,
He
it's time to let that go. Let it go.
he
Let it go.
he got a good mentor because I think he still talk with Tony Dungy, and he
Mm-hmm.
still got a bunch of ex NFL coaches. I think Andy Reid that he's still affiliated with, so he should get some insight on team building. I don't know how much coaching he's done. It ain't like Dion was coaching for years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shoot, they used to say, well, I want to say Vick said it himself. He wasn't reading his playbook. He was just going out there balling on Sundays. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean when you could do what he was doing,
Yeah.
but I think it's I mean like any coaching hire, man, it's important to get the right people around you. I don't care how good a coach you are. If you don't have the right guys on your staff, it ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna come right. So I think he got, like you said, he got enough connections with college and NFL and guys, tons of guys from that era probably hungry to work. If he can put together a good solid staff of dudes, they ain't gotta be flashy. Just dudes that know what they're doing and understand that you only have to win probably 4 conference games to make the Celebration Bowl. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you don't have to win. You don't have to run a gauntlet of 8 games. 9 really to make it to the Celebration Bowl. You can go whatever overall and go 4-1 in conference and win a
And maybe
3-way tie and
just
go.
beat
So
the right team. Yeah.
yeah, you beat either South Carolina State or North Carolina Central because the one of them gonna beat the other one. You finish in a 3-way tie, you're probably going. So it's not. I don't think it's a lot. I don't think it's a lot of pressure in that aspect. And
Right.
Norfolk ain't really had no long winning tradition. I can't even think last time they had a winning season. Um,
It's
somebody
been a
probably
while.
somebody.
Yeah, it's been a while since they had to win the season
It's been
like
it's
that.
been a minute. But I don't think I think this is if you gonna come into one of these kind of jobs, I think it's a job like that. It's not a blue blood. It's not a
High
team with a
profile.
rap. It's not a high profile job. It's not a team with a huge fan base. It's not a team with a tradition of winning. Which I still hate that people still try to downplay Jackson State like they wasn't winning in the whole down 70s, 80s. You know what I'm saying? The 90s and part 2000. You know what I'm saying? Like that always made me upset when I saw people be like, oh, well, they never had nothing. Like, bro, you didn't even know, you wasn't there. But I think that a team like that is a good fit for a guy like that. He can come in and get his feet on him and build his team and his program and go from there.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
it's
team
gonna be a lot
goes.
of work.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work. And it's basically trying to get the guys up in there. Re-recruit your guys that's in the portal, that's thinking about jumping in the portal and stuff like that. To me, that's the first thing I would do: re-recruit the people that was on the team, let them know what your philosophy is, offensively and defensively, and you pretty much go from there. Other than that, I don't see he shouldn't have too much any of a problem because as far as getting kids to come to the school, to play for him, that whole 757 area, that whole Hampton Roads, the Norfolk, Newport News where he from, Virginia Beach, uh just that whole area, man. I think he can actually get up in there and get some kids and they can play for him.
Yeah, it's tons of talent up there, man. It's tons of guys that can play up there, and it's a lot of guys that came out of that area that had great success and want to get on the sidelines and help. So I think it's a good fit. A lot of times people be throwing out names, oh, this guy, that guy, because like me and my old man was talking and he was like, man, what if he a Valley dude. And he was like, man, what if Ed Reed go to Valley? I say, bro, did you see how that man acted at Bethune? How you think he gonna act at Valley, man?
He
And I
did.
say that with all love, you know what I'm saying? I say that with all love because I love Valley like a second school to me. But the going's tough up there, man. You
He was acting like that on the beach. You know how he gonna act
yes.
out
So he go in the Delta, man.
there.
But
That's
I,
true.
I, 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 guess- I wish him the best, man. I do wish Coach Vick the best, man, because I think he got the potential to get it done, and those guys have been down a long time. They need some success, so hopefully it work out for them, and hopefully maybe because they fan base ain't that big online, you ain't gonna have that huge influx of dummies that try to overtake their fan base. So maybe they won't have to have that problem because I don't really see none of them people online. Now you probably see a bunch of them now, but before you didn't. So I'm gonna be
He
eagerly
gonna
watching though.
he'll bring some fans. He gonna bring some fans. He gonna bring them over there.
Oh yeah, he gonna
But
bring a ton.
here's the whole thing. Let's just say let's just say Valley Dude go talk to him. Don't trash the school.
Yes,
Don't
don't
go on
don't do
social
that.
media. Don't go on social media and trash school before you even step foot on in your office and on the campus and stuff like that, because that was your downfall at Bethune-Cookman. Now, if you would have, and I would say Bethune-Cookman should have, they was in the wrong too, because they should have just had that contract already written up and say, hey, this is what we expect. And you know what I'm saying, let them sign by the line. Then if you had any grievances, man, don't air it out on social media. Talk to the administration. Hey, what can we do to get everything straight? So, and that was his downfall right there. So, we shall see, because we still got some other, you still got some other openings, that you still got some openings right now in college football, as far as in the HBCU world. I know from when I heard that I think Prairie View might have a coach in name that they probably going to get. I guess they're just waiting to see what happens. I'm not gonna put it out there, but my best bet might be Tremaine Jackson.
Yeah, that's I was just about to say that's the name I've been hearing and thinking. You know what I'm saying? The guy got ties to Texas, and I mean, he a hell of a coach, man. He been moving up the ladder. And he got them boys about to play for the championship on Saturday. So I've been hearing his name bounced around. So that might be why they waiting to let him finish his obligations. But like you said, I don't want to put nothing into the air like it's a done deal or like it's something certain. But that's a big move if they pull it off.
Oh yeah.
They claim they committed to winning. So if they get a guy like that, if you get behind him, he could have some success.
Well, I'm about to jump off, man. I'm gonna listen to y'all offline, man. I appreciate you letting me jump on for a second.
Oh man, no problem, man. Anytime you want to come through, bro, you got an open seat over here.
Bet.
But speaking of staying on jobs and stuff, man, I'm kind of interested to see what Alabama and them do. That's a job that kind of intrigued me in terms of an opening, because they've been putting money in their athletic department, and I want to see what their commitment is to football. They look like they're making some good moves. They they built new basketball arena and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They got the dog houses at the football field and all that. they got all that. So they see they got a good AD. They seem like they're making the right move. So I'm interested to see what they make in terms of a hire, because I don't think that team is that far off.
Yeah,
I don't think they're that far off.
I think the weight with the coaching might be the same thing like the players, trying to see if what happened on the higher levels, if they're going to get jobs or, a coordinator job somewhere else or whatever. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
The coordinator up at that level got to wait till you, like you say, finish before they can come down to coach. So I think that's kind of what the whole up. It should be happening after bowl games. That's what I expect.
Like I said, I expect in the next couple of weeks, well, not even that long, and at least guys on lower levels, I expect in the next few days, some movement starting to happen. And yeah, they got the I heard some rumblings about some openings at Bama State. So there's a lot of moving parts going on, man, and I think you're seeing a holding pattern with people, and it's tough. We've been through 3 coaching changes in like 4 years, so I know what it's like to be in that holding pattern, waiting for something to happen. You know what I'm saying? And you're trying to hold the guys that you got because you don't want them to run off. Especially your top guys, you don't want them to run off before anything happens. But you can't blame them, especially now with the window being like it is. It's not open long like it was before. So I think. I did see. That's a name I expect to see on a lot of people's lists. People want to put Coach McNair. If he, I'm sure you want to get back in the head spot. So if they come to him, I'm sure he's gonna talk. But you do know he gonna be asking for some money now. Don't. He gonna be asking for some money.
He deserved it.
Yeah, I think if any dude from Bama State defense going to Porter, I think if you don't have a solid guy at that position, I think you need whoever your school is. If you don't have a solid guy at the position, whoever the guys are, I think you go after them dudes because those man, they got some really solid defensive guys, and they can plug a lot of holes for people. So I'm sure if any of those guys go, they're gonna be high commodities, man, because they got they got a talented defense. It's gonna be interesting to see how things go without the guy leading the charge. We'll see what kind of moves they make. They dip. Yeah, I seen his name come up too. Sam Shade from Miles. That's I think being in that area, there's a guy a lot of them probably familiar with. So, and I think he was Alabama dude. So
don't the
he
contracts run out at certain times and all that kind of stuff? Don't they have a little bit of something to do with it, like the coaching contract?
Yeah. I think every school is different, but you do have like a certain time frame before your stuff run out. A lot of coaches like they would have to wait till that happens so they can make a move. And then it's also negotiations and stuff. Like you might got a coach in line for something and y'all ain't really eye to eye on the numbers. Especially if you putting a lot of money into him and you ain't putting a lot of money into your assistants. That could be a big stopping point too. So
yeah, I know. I'm curious to see if FAMU. I think we lost one or two coaching positions last season, and I'm curious if they're gonna fill those back in. Because I don't think we had a full-time recruiter last season, like we had dedicated to just recruiting before us when Respis left. So I'm curious to get that back.
He back in Tallahassee now, on the other side of town.
I thought he was gonna link back up with Willie in Boca. I thought he was gonna
I'm surprised he didn't. Especially when they were like, I saw somebody saying, "Oh, he coming back to Florida." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. I told my partners, I was like, man, I'm gonna be mad because they done took a football coach, a band director. Now they trying to get the recruiting coordinator.
They might want to throw the orange in their uniforms.
Yeah, they doing too much. They're doing too much.
But we almost about to wrap this thing up, man. I should have said this earlier, but I'm gonna give the last few minutes to you. What was your thoughts on winning the band of the year or whatever that thing was, man?
Hey,
I ain't trying to be funny. What was your thoughts on that, though?
I wasn't gonna mention it. It was obvious. It was obvious, and you could see the difference out there on the field just by the things that FAMU band did. They had the 15, 16 minutes to put on a display. So they did all different kinds of stuff. They did the downfield drill. I'm sure that everyone could appreciate that. They had the little drum solo in there. You know what I mean? We had our brass blowing loud. I'm sure the sonic boom in the chat, he could appreciate that right there. We had straight lines. We had the high knee lift. And they did a good dance routine. And then they stayed true to their form by bringing it off the field traditionally FAMU style like they would in Bragg. Blended a whole bunch of elements into the show. So I was happy with it, but, if you ain't from FAMU, I guess you don't care because your band ain't winning. So, but we...
I wasn't gonna let you get out of here without saying something now. I know you was trying to not say nothing, but I wasn't gonna let you get out of here without saying nothing. Because
I ain't gotta say nothing. I have been saying it all season. I ain't gotta say nothing. Nothing to say now. Just validation.
Hey, I mean, if anybody got to win it, man, it might well be somebody from the SWAC, so I look at it the same way as I looked at the Celebration Bowl.
We did that weekend. What did chat say? Oh, they ain't win last week. They ain't win last year. And one day, talking about that because his name on there. They ain't winning last year. What he say? The head recruiter.
Oh, he was talking about Coach Riz.
Oh, Riz, yeah. Nah, but it was good. I watched it. I appreciated the show. And I'm sure now we gave everybody something. They got all these off season to bone up. They'll take a little bits and pieces and blend it into their shows. So we got to come up with something different for next year.
We'll be taking center stage week 0 in 2025 when we in Atlanta. So
y'all play in Atlanta?
We're playing North Carolina Central.
Oh,
we're playing. See, I was upset because I was like, they missed a good opportunity to let us play Norfolk because Odom's and Southern. Yeah, Odom's and Southern. That sells itself, man. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't played Central since we ain't played Central since 2006 when their locker rooms got robbed, which I always hated that story. But and they beat us. They were still D2 when they beat us. So it'd be good to play a team we ain't played in a while, although we ain't never played the Spartans before at all. So, it's always good to, face off with teams you haven't really seen a lot. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Hopefully, God bless me.
I'm going to be a humble rattler this season. I honestly don't know what we got. And after last year, I was looking at all our recruits and I was like, this, that, and the third, and he going to be this, he going to be that. And, I'm from Missouri. Now they got to show me. I don't care if they bring in. I don't care if he comes from the NFL. He better show me he can play at FAMU. That's how all the rappers feel.
I'm always that way, man. Show me. It's good. It's good to have the excitement, man. But you still got to show me. I got to see it for myself.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard hill to climb. I hope them cats that's coming in understand that. It ain't gonna be easy on them. So if you think the fans gonna be nice and if you're used to getting all friendly, we're gonna be friendly with you as long as you're winning.
Oh yeah, that's the way it always goes. But one thing I say about a rough season, though, a rough season gonna weed out some of them pretenders. You know what I'm saying? Some of them guys that came in because everything was all good,
right?
And they just expect to kind of coast. You know what I'm saying? Off the coattails of the year before,
right?
That weed out a lot of them guys. So you're gonna end up with guys who want to be there and want to put in the work. So you don't want it to happen that way, but that's the way it happened, man. You weed out a lot of them guys.
But they had to learn that. Like last season wasn't a real bad season, but for the standard that had been set for the previous 5-6 years, that's what made us feel bad for them. So hopefully, like you say, the ones that stay there keep that taste in their mouth and put their head down and go to work.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one thing before we get out of here about bad seasons. It's I think sometimes when you average a long time, people think you bad. And I'm not speaking about y'all. I'm speaking about us. We only had one losing season since like 2013, and that was in 2021. But we've been so middle of the pack and not good as good as we probably should be, as good as we say we should be, that people rate us that way. So I understand what it's like, man. It's frustrating to get them stones thrown at you because your team ain't where it need to be. But as long as you got guys that's willing to fight and make it happen, hey, you just roll the dice and see what happens. But man, we're gonna go ahead and get on up out of here, man. I do like to thank my boy Doc Holliday, man, for coming through, chopping it up with us. My boy DJ, he dipped out in Big Soldier, man. Hey, salute to all y'all. Salute to my boy Jerome, man. We got a couple more. Well, I don't know about the holiday. I don't know why we ain't even changed the calendar up in here.
What show you got?
No, huh?
What?
I was trying to say we got technically we got like one more show in this year, so it's gonna be, we're gonna have a good time before we close out the year. And 2025 will be a good year for us, man. I'm feeling it. I think a lot of good things is coming down the pack, down the highway for us, and I thank y'all for staying with us, because if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't have been able to do 181 of these shows. So I think it's crazy that this show started off with a 1 30-minute show with two dudes that didn't even know each other before we went on the air. So that that like when me and DJ started this, bro, I didn't even know him. One of my friends introduced me to him, and he was like he wanted to do a show. So I was like, hey, let's try it, So that was a couple of years ago,
I
and
bet you the same way.
exactly. So it's like that's how and now we building strong connections, man. So I definitely think we got a good thing going. We're gonna keep it going, man. And we're gonna catch y'all on the next episode of SWAC Smoke, man. We're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Let my boy
All
get him
right.
some rest. He been grinding out there, so let
Yes.
Jerome get him some rest. And we'll catch y'all on the next one, man. Y'all have a good evening and y'all be safe.
All right. Peace.
All right, peace, y'all.